All right, so I was just going to briefly walk through the matching system as it exists today. It's really more of a proof of concept than anything else, but it does have the core functionality that I think we're looking for a matching system. So just real quickly walking through the database here and sort of the objects that are defined in here. There's, I think, 5 of them. Devices, so that's a list of the different devices that can be made. Members, so that's all the users who are using the system. Messages between those members. Requests that are submitted by people who need devices, and then offers made to build those devices or meet those requests. And that's basically it. So just kind of briefly walking through the system. I am using Ruby on Rails. The user interface is horrendous. It's really just for testing. But as it stands right now, I've got sort of a Ruby user management system built into here. Works pretty well. But if we were to switch to a different language, then we would just kind of need to find a new way to do the user management because I haven't built any code around it. All right, first thing we see is a basic member dashboard. A couple of things to point out here is that we want the system to be private. So at no time do we want to be displaying any kind of identifiable or identifying information. So we don't even capture things like telephone numbers or addresses. All we're really going to capture is email, city, and country. And that way, and name, of course, and that way nobody would ever be able to go to San Diego and find Joe C. And actually track me down or harass me on a phone or anything like that. And within the system, we won't even expose the user's emails to each other. That's why we're going to use messages within the system. That way, everybody retains their privacy, but can still do peer-to-peer matching. All right, so I'm just going to quickly walk through sort of the workflow. I'm going to start by submitting a request, just so we can kind of see it from start to finish. Again, forgive the user interface. All right, so from here, we can pick the device, which side, and where it should actually go. The shipping address that's entered here never gets exposed fully to the user, so you could actually put the final shipping address. But for our purposes, we only ever use the city and state or city and country out of it. A couple things that still need to be added is capturing measurements photo and the sort of color scheme or any decorations that the requester would want. So those are pretty straightforward fields to pop into here. All right, so now we're creating that request, and from here, it's now going to appear on the list of available requests. Hopefully that's what pops up next. Actually, it's showing me this exact request, but if I now look on the list of available requests, it should be there. And so that way, other users in the system can find that request and then submit offers in order to build that device. So here's the map, and as you can see, if we drill in, there's now a request in Paris. The idea is that a builder would, living in the area or having some connection to folks in Paris would find this. I envision that we'll have a simple little search as well. Click on it, see some information, again, just the information about the device that they've actually wanted. And at that point, they can come in here and make an offer on that request. And so here it is down at the bottom. And of course, because I've submitted it, I can't make an offer on that request. But I think I can show you the idea behind it pretty easily. So let me cancel my previous offer on this request. And I can at least show you what it looks like to submit an offer on a request. So that's request number 3 that we want to submit an offer on. Okay, and so now you can see we have an offer to help button, and there's no offers on this particular request. So let's just pretend this was the one that I had just created. Okay, so now I can submit an offer to help for recipient 3 to build their left Phoenix hand. And when I do, a couple of things happen. One is that the offer is created in the system, but it's also creating messages in the background, right? One that's going to recipient 3 saying you have a new offer on your request, and another message that you can now see up here that says you've submitted an offer against request number 3. Again, I apologize for the user interface on this, but it's really just a proof of concept. So now you can see that there's a new message in the system saying that an offer was made. And the messaging is really the critical piece to this whole matching system, because it allows the requester and the offerer, the recipient and the builder, to directly connect to each other, work together, collaborate, make sure that everything goes smoothly without ever exposing each other's private information, unless they choose to do that, right? So if somebody is actually in your area, maybe you get to know them and you feel comfortable, you can arrange to meet someplace public. That can all happen through the messaging system, but it would be completely up to the individuals. They would never actually have to meet each other. They could all be done via mail. From here, that's pretty much the whole system. I think there's still a good amount of work to do, primarily on the user interface side, but the core, I think, is here. So hopefully you're interested in helping out.